This house is said to be one of the most haunted places in America, and I promise you, you'll want to hear this story all the way through. The Sallie house, located in Atchison, Kansas, has been standing since the late 1800s. It was originally built as a family home for Michael Finney, his wife Kate, and their 3 children. But sadly, Michael died inside the home shortly after it was completed in 1871, and it was said that over the years, several other members of the Finney family passed away in the home from natural causes. The house itself is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Sallie, but there's no record of a little girl by that name ever living in the home. As the story goes, Dr. Charles Finney, believed to be the son of the home's original owner, Michael, eventually inherited the home after the deaths of his sister and her husband. He reportedly turned the first floor into a doctor's office, complete with examination rooms, while he and his family lived upstairs. According to local legend, one night, a frantic mother brought her 6-year-old daughter Sallie to Dr. Finney's office. Sallie was suffering from unbearable abdominal pain, and when Dr. Finney realized her appendix was about to burst, he made the decision to operate inside the home immediately. This meant that by the time Dr. Finney made his first incision, the anesthetic hadn't yet taken effect, or, in some versions of the story, he hadn't used any at all. Sallie, who was in unimaginable pain, began screaming, and she was terrified and unable to understand what was happening. Tragically, she passed away on the operating table, and it was said that in her final moments, Sallie believed Dr. Finney was torturing her rather than trying to save her life. While the story can't be confirmed and there's no evidence of a Sallie dying in the home, it's left many wondering, is the ghost of Sallie truly a little girl, or could it be something far darker disguising itself as a child? Throughout the years, countless people have visited the Sallie house and experienced all kinds of paranormal activity, everything from apparitions and disembodied voices to objects moving on their own and violent attacks on visitors. The ghost of Sallie has earned the nickname the man-hating ghost due to the overwhelming number of male visitors being the ones to suffer the worst of these attacks. One of the most terrifying stories comes from 1992 when a young couple, Tony and Debbie Pickman, moved into the home expecting their first child. At first, nothing happened. A month went by without incident, but as they started to settle into the house, things began to take a sinister turn. Lights flickered on and off, and their dog started barking at nothing. Over the next few months, the Pickmans experienced increasingly strange occurrences, but after their child was born, the activity grew more intense, and a strange, unsettling mold began to grow on items throughout the house. One day, the couple returned home to find all of the toys in the nursery had been arranged in a perfect circle. That same night, Tony felt an intense burning sensation on his back, and when he and Debbie checked, they were horrified to find 3 large scratches running down his spine. This activity was becoming increasingly unexplainable. Debbie sometimes felt as though their child was playing with someone or something that wasn't there. She'd see objects move around the nursery as if guided by this unseen hand. It was as though a presence was lurking, watching them, and the more they tried to ignore it, the worse it seemed to get. During their child's birthday party, a doll in the house inexplicably caught fire, and neighbors were seeing lights on in the nursery when no one was home. Now, Tony and Debbie did not want to move out of this house they had just settled into, so they consulted with a psychic, Barbara Connors, who visited the home on several occasions. And she suggested that Tony and Debbie try to live with Sallie and embrace her as if she were their daughter. She said she didn't believe Sallie was evil, but the disturbances only intensified and the attacks became increasingly focused on Tony. The Pickmans reached out to the show's sightings along with several other paranormal investigators hoping to get answers. They were advised to get rid of any toys that could attract entities, and after the sightings episode aired, the Sallie house gained widespread attention, both from curious onlookers and skeptics who believed the whole thing was a hoax. But the Pickmans remained firm in their belief that something truly demonic was happening in their home. Tony reportedly saw Sallie on 2 separate occasions. The first time she appeared as a little girl, but the second time was far more terrifying. Sallie, or whatever entity was pretending to be her, tried to pull him out of bed, and when he didn't comply, the figure morphed into a grotesque demonic creature, part animal, part human, with rotting flesh. For Tony, this horrifying encounter just sealed the deal that whatever haunted the house was not the innocent spirit of a child, but something much more sinister. After years of enduring both mental and physical assaults, the Pickmans finally decided to leave. Sallie house was eventually leased by the owner, Les Smith Jr., to a new couple. This new couple were allegedly involved in satanic worship. Now, I'll admit I have a hard time with this part of the story. I get that some people are into those things, but I also feel like many of these claims about satanic worship are rooted in the exaggerated fears from the era of satanic panic, but I digress. One day, Les said he decided to visit the house for a routine maintenance check, and what he discovered was a pentagram drawn on the basement floor. He said he also found ritualistic remnants scattered around and asked the family to leave immediately. This day, the Sallie house continues to attract paranormal investigators, skeptics, and curious visitors, each experiencing their own share of terrifying events. While most people do experience some kind of paranormal activity here, most of the attacks are focused towards male visitors. Currently, the Sallie house is open to the public, and after signing a waiver, visitors can conduct their own paranormal investigations, even spend the night, and see for themselves whether the house is haunted by the spirit of a little girl or a demonic entity. If you have made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you for sticking around. Let me know what you think about the Sallie house. Do you believe it's haunted? Do you believe it's haunted by a little girl, a demonic entity? And if you have a haunted location, an urban legend, or a creepy story you want me to share, feel free to comment that down below as well. As always, I appreciate every single one of you and all of your support. I look forward to seeing you in another video.